Okay, so we're going to be doing a 1500 point battle report today, featuring the Eldar Craftworlds Codex versus the Necrons. So we'll take a look at the armies. We have the Craftworld Warhost detachment from the Codex, featuring a Windrider host. We've got a Farseer with four warlocks in the conclave there. We've got three Windrider squads, three men each, with scatter lasers on all of the bikes. And then we have a Viper with a Bright Lance. In our auxiliary, we have three Falcons, standard with pulse laser shuriken cannons. We have a Wraith Knight with dual Wraith cannons, and then a Dire Avenger Shrine with three 5-man Dire Avenger squads. It's right at 1500 points. Then moving on, we'll look over here at the Necron army that we'll be playing against today. Starting with the Reclamation Legion, we have an Overlord with a War Scythe and a Resurrection Orb, two 20-man squads of warriors, two Ghost Arcs, three Tomb Blades with the Particle Beamers, the Nebula Scope, and the 3-up Armor Save, Shield Veins I think it's called. Then we have a 5-man Immortal Squad. They'll be riding in a Night Scythe. And then for the auxiliary, we have a Kinetic Harvest formation with 5 Wraith Knights, 3 Scarabs, and a Spider. And that's right at 1500 points. So we're going to see how well these codexes match up against each other today. We'll be right back with the start of turn 1. Okay, so here we are at the start of turn 1. Necrons won the roll to determine table sides. And chose the other side of the table. Eldar won the roll to go first. The mission is Contact Lost. Maelstrom mission we'll be playing today. That you draw a number of objectives based on objective cards based on the number of objectives you control, up to 6. So we'll take a look at the powers here that were rolled up for the Farseer and the Warlock Conclave. The Farseer got Psychic Shriek, Guide, and Fortune. And then the Warlocks got Conceal, Reveal, of course, Enhance, Drain, and Empower, Innervate. Warlord trait was friendly units with the Eldar faction do not scatter when placed within 12 inches of the Warlord. Of course, it's going to be immaterial for Eldar because they'll be running with Falcons with the Cloud Strike ability. They won't scatter anyway. The deployment, we have the 3 jet bikes here with scatter lasers with the Wraith Knight, Farseer, and the Warlocks here. Over here we have 3 more jet bikes in the ruin here. We have the Viper kind of hiding behind the bunker here, along with another 3 jet bikes. Of course, the Falcons and the Dire Avenger Shrine are in reserve. For the Necrons, we'll move over here to take a look at their deployment. We got the Tomb Blades hiding out behind this wall here, trying to avoid being first blood. We have a Ghost Arc with 20 warriors in front of it. The Kinetic Harvest formation here in the center. Another Ghost Arc with the 20-man warriors here, with the Warlord carefully positioned so that he can allow rerolls for both of the warrior squads. And of course the Night Scythe with the Immortals is in reserve. So that is the deployment. So Necrons did attempt to seize, did not do so. And the Warlord trait for the Necron Overlord was he must accept all challenges and gets to reroll hits and challenges. So we will be back at the bottom of Eldar turn 1, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so here we are at the bottom of Eldar turn 1. Basically what happened is the Farseer and his Warlock Council moved up here, attempted to cast Guide and got it off on the Wraith Knight, and then also attempted to cast Fortune, but it was denied. So the Wraith Knight was re-rolling his to hits with his Wraith Cannons. Just shuffled a little bit here with these jet bikes, ended up losing one to a DT check. These jet bikes just scooted over a little bit. The Viper came over the top here, as well as the 3 jet bikes. Ended up shooting into the pretty much shooting everything into the spider and the scarabs. Between the two squads of jet bikes here ended up taking out the spider with scatter lasers, and then the other group ended up taking out the scarabs. The Wraith Knight shot into the spider, even with guide, only got one hit and then rolled a 1 on the D table. So couldn't allocate the shots from the other stuff into something else, so they all had to shoot to the spider. Obviously, need to take it out on turn 1 to prevent the Wraiths from having reanimation protocols. Eldar scored their tactical objective. At the start of turn 1, each player just draws 1, and Eldar drew overwhelming firepower. So we did destroy 2 units, but not 3, so we only scored the 1 point and first blood. So now it will be Necron turn 1, so we'll get back at the bottom of Necron turn 1. Okay, so here we are at the bottom of Necron's turn 1. Basically, the Wraiths moved up, trying to block off that Wraith Knight, maybe tie him up. Everything just moved up. Tomb Blades came from around the building to grab that objective. All of these warriors shot into the Wraith Knight. Ended up doing 3 wounds, but he made his saves. The Ghost Ark here had to snap fire into the Wraith Knight, didn't do anything. And over here, this Ghost Ark shot into the jet bikes, but they made their saves. So as of now, just moving across the board, nothing happening. The Wraiths attempted to make a charge, needed a 10, rolled a 9. With Fleet, re-rolled one of the dice and ended up getting less. So no charge for the Wraiths this turn to try and tie that Wraith Knight up. Necrons pulled secure objective 1, which they moved the Tomb Blades over here to grab that objective, which they ended up having to turbo boost to do, but they got it. So now we'll go to Eldar turn 2. See if the Falcons can come on and see what kind of damage they can do. Okay, so here we are at the end of Eldar turn 2. The Falcons came in. They all deep strike right there together. It was a tough choice between going after that Ghost Ark or the Tomb Blades, but we went ahead, shot the Falcons at the Tomb Blades. Between the pulse lasers and the shuriken cannons, went ahead and finished them off. So they're dead. Only killed, between all the scatter laser shots and everything, only killed 1 warrior out of each squad, thanks to the reanimation protocols and the re-rolling of 1s. So each squad lost 1 warrior. Wraith Knight shot in, didn't really do anything, then charged in and ended up killing 1 of the Wraiths with a stomp attack. And they failed their saves. Got a lot of psychic powers off, though. Went ahead and cast Fortune on the Wraith Knight, and then we cast several maledictions onto the Wraiths, knocked their initiative down by 1, so the Wraith Knight could swing first, knocked their strength down by 1, and their weapon skill by 1. And then, of course, we got guide on the Falcons, so they could reroll all their shooting attacks. And then the jet bikes did assault moves here. One thing that the Eldar forgot to do was really position themselves to get objectives for turn 2. So at the start of turn 1, we only had 1 objective to draw, and it was Scour the Skies. So not going to pitch it because Necrons do have a flyer, so we'll see what happens here at the end of Necron's turn 2. They're getting ready to make their reserve roll, see if their flyer comes in, and see what happens. We'll be back at the bottom of turn 2. Alright, so here we are at the bottom of Necron's turn 2. The flyer came on. He zoomed up, shot into that Viper. Viper made his Jinx save, so he was fine, but the Viper did eventually die to all the Gauls weaponry here, failing his Jinx save, so wrecked it there. These warriors moved up, shot 20 shots into that Falcon squad, hit 20 times. Only managed to do, and the Falcons had elected not to jink, Only managed to do a single hull point, though. So, and then over here, the Bard shot into the other, into that squad as well. Only put, but managed to put 2 hull points on. So one of the Falcons is down to 1, the other's down to 2. Over here in the combat, the Wraith Knight killed another Wraith. He took a wound in the assault, however, made us feel no pain. So he's okay. And then the Necrons had 2 objectives at the start of the turn, so they drew 2 cards. Was secure objective number 6 and secure 3, and they end up scoring secure 3. So as of now, it's a tie game, 2-2, going into the top of the 3rd turn. We'll see what the Eldar can muster on turn 3. Now that they have some objectives to draw some cards, if they can get some points on the board. But right now it's been a pretty tight game. Oh, also, yes, at the start of the turn, both of the Ghost Arcs regenerated the Lost Warrior in each squad, so squads are back to full. So we'll be back at the bottom of Eldar, at the end of the Eldar turn 3. Okay, so here we are at the end of turn 3. Was a pretty huge turn for Eldar. As you can see, some things have changed here. The Dire Avengers all got out of their Falcons, moved up and used their once per game ability to shoot 3 shots each. Shot into these warriors, only killed a few. Not even enough to make a leadership. The Falcons shot into the Ghost Arc over here, got 2 penetrating hits, failed 1 Jinx save, and then rolled a 5 to blow it up. It's AP2 plus the open topped. So that Ghost Arc is dead. Fired some shots into these warriors, killed like 2 or 3. And then scooted the jet bikes back. Managed to get psychic powers off, same as before, pretty much. Fortune on the Wraith Knight, the Drain on the Wraiths, and then Guide on the Falcons. But the big star of this turn was the Wraith Knight. The combat went about as expected. You know, they're just slap fighting each other back and forth. Then the stomp table happened. Rolled a D3 for 3 stomps. First stomp rolled a 6. So all the Wraiths were dead. Second stomp, we moved it about 3 inches from the initial stomp at where it covered the Warlord of the Necrons, the Overlord in this squad, and 2 others. Rolled another 6. Those models are dead. And then on the subsequent one, didn't really do anything. So in a matter of 1 close combat, the Wraith Knight stomps the Wraiths to death, as well as the Overlord from the overlapping stomp. So now that ends up scoring Eldar several victory points this turn. The start of the turn, they drew Kingslayer, secure objective 1, secure objective 5, and already had Scour the Skies. So going to score secure objective 1. The Dire Avengers battle focused up to 1. Got Kingslayer for killing the Warlord over here, as well as slay the Warlord. And that's it. So presently, the score right now is Eldar have 5 and Necrons have 2 still. So we're going into Necrons turn 3. Their Overlord is dead. So we're going to see what they can do to circumvent this onslaught of the Eldar, specifically the Wraith Knight that's staring that squad down in the face. So we'll see what happens at the end of Necron turn 3. Okay, so here we are at the end of Necron turn 3. Pretty uneventful turn. The Night Scythe pivoted, dumped out those Immortals, shot up the jet bikes, only killed 2. This squad here moved up, shot 9 shots into that last jet bike, could not finish it off. Needed to get it so they could score a point because one of their objectives is secure 6. Pretty much just left the Wraith Knight alone. Obviously the Night Scythe, because he had to get in position to do that, to drop the Immortals off, put him out of line of sight to do anything with the gun. This squad here moved up, blasted 31 shots into this Dire Avenger squad sitting on objective number 1. Killed 1 guy. Over here, the Ghost Ark shot into the Falcons. Again, they did not jink and didn't do anything. And that's it for Necrons turn 3. Not looking so good right now. The mobility and the speed is catching up to Necrons right now. They did generate 1 warrior back into the unit from the Ghost Ark. But now they're looking at a Wraith Knight getting ready to charge a squad of warriors here. And lots of firepower coming over on this side. They did move up. This squad moved up to secure objective number 2 over here on the other side of this wall. So Necrons will score a point there. Their objectives they drew were a Code of Combat and Secure 6. Or excuse me, Secure 2. So going to go ahead and pitch Code of Combat. Since they can't score it, the only character they have is now dead. So they score Secure 2. So presently, right now, the score, Necrons have 3 points, and the Eldar have First Blood and Slay the Warlord, along with Overwhelming Firepower, Secure 1, and Kingslayer. So as it stands now, it's 5-3 points-wise in favor of the Eldar. So we will come back at the end of Eldar turn 4 and see what they can do against the remaining warriors here and this flyer. So we'll be back in a moment. Alright, so we are at Eldar turn 4. It's a pretty good turn for Eldar. The Wraith Knight, well, first off, let's go over here with the Warlock Council. The Seer Council moved up, managed to get Fortune and Enhance on themselves, and Inverate, whatever it's called, on the Warriors there to drop their strength down. Cast Guide over here on the Falcons. And that was it for Psychic Powers. So the Wraith Knight moved up here. Shot is D-cannon into one of the D-cannons into the Ghost Ark there. Ended up hitting it with a D3 hull points on the D table. Failed the Jinx save, so it took 3, leaving it at 1, which the Falcons promptly finished it off with the pulse lasers, since it was then armor 11, so it's wrecked. It did not explode. The Wraith Knight then shot into here, missed with a second shot, but then charged into that warrior squad. Missed all of his close combat attacks, and only killed like 2 in the stomp, so they made their leadership, so they remain. Over here, the Warlock Council, after the Dire Avengers all shot in and killed a few, along with the Warlocks there, using the Shred special rule for the detachment with the Guardian battle host, took down probably 5 of them or so, and then they got charged. They charged in and wiped that unit out. They got swept. One jet bike, the jet bike that was over on Objective 6, ended up turbo boosting over to Objective 5 in the shooting phase. These other jet bikes moved over to try and encircle these immortals, shot everything into them, and didn't kill anything because of the reanimation. So Wraith Knight's stuck in the combat there. Right now there's slim pickings for Necrons. They have their flyer, these 5 immortals, and those warriors over there left. Eldar scored Big Game Hunter. One of the objectives drawn this turn for killing the Ghost Ark. They scored Skyborne Assault for killing taking its last hull point off with the Falcons. Gives them a victory point. And then secure Objective 5 with that bike over there turbo boosting at in the shooting phase. So right now, Eldar have 8 points, heading into the bottom of 4, and it looks like this one's going to be just about a wrap. So we'll see what Necrons can manage to do on turn 4, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back at the bottom of turn 4. Necrons were not able to draw a card this turn because they didn't control any objectives at the time. This one here was contested, and they're not objective secured. So, however, the one that they had was secure objective 6. So the Immortals moved up here, shot into those jet bikes, killed one, then assaulted, killed another. It failed its leadership check and broke. It did not go right off the table edge, but it's close. So they were able to score that point. The Flyer moved over here. Really wasn't able to get a good angle with anything, so only thing it could shoot was the Dire Avengers here, and it killed 4 of them. And over in the combat here, the Wraith Knight killed 4 warriors with Stomp, and they passed the leadership test, so still in the combat there. Necrons end up scoring another victory point to bring the score now to 8 for Eldar and 4 for Necrons. So we're going to go into turn 5 now and see what if the Eldar can finish them off. Okay, so here we are at the end of turn 5, and we're going to go ahead and call it here an Eldar victory. Basically what happened, the Dire Avengers moved up here, battle focused up. The Falcons turned their attention and these 2 jet bikes here on this squad of 5 warriors, dumped everything into them and only killed 3. They passed their leadership, so they're fine. Over here, the Seer Council whipped around, got into that combat with the warriors that were there with the Wraith Knight, and after their assault and the stomps from the Wraith Knight, the remaining warriors ended up breaking and getting swept. So presently, Necrons only have 1 scoring unit on the table left with 2 models, and the Knight side over here, which did not get any attention this turn. But it cannot score. So too late in the game, too far behind. Necrons going to go ahead and throw in the towel. Eldar scored another victory point here in this turn, so ends up being a 9-4 victory for Eldar. So now we can kind of get a baseline, an idea anyway, of how the basic kind of Decurion style builds for each army work in correspondence to each other. Really kind of expected the Necrons to hang in there. I think the pivotal moment was when the Wraith Knight stomped forward into the Overlord and killing him through that close combat attack. Really negated, the use of the Res Orb, re-rolling of the 1s for reanimation, and those sort of buffs that could have helped them survive a lot longer. Of course, being Necrons, taking advantage of the fact that they're not that great in close combat, probably would have been better if the Necrons had ran more MSU rather than big giant blobs across the table. Overall, it was a good game. Not the greatest showing for the Necrons, but very impressed with the way the Eldar Falcon Cloud Strike thing worked. That's pretty nasty. The Dire Avenger Shrine, really, really good. Rolling around, hitting on 2s is really nice for that formation. In addition to getting that extra shot for each one of them that turn when they drop out of the Falcon and get out, and can really tear into some infantry because they can get placed basically where they need to with inside the Falcon. So that's a pretty nifty combo, I thought. Wraith Knight probably was MVP of this game. The more that I'm playing with Eldar, the more I'm realizing that Wraith Knights are brutally disgusting now. And it's not even the D weapons, which everybody keeps complaining about. It is the stomps. The stomps are what's making that thing, making the difference for it. Anything, it's very difficult to tie that unit down. If you're going to try to get it in combat, you need to get in there with something that's going to be able to kill it. Shooting is tough because of the toughness is so high, and now it has feel no pain. Poison only works on a 6 now when you go to wound it. So it becoming a gargantuan creature has really shifted things. So it's going to take some adjustment and play style for a lot of these armies to figure out how to take it down. Because it is quite a big difference. Of course, the scatter bikes are really good. I mean, when you're cranking out that many shots, very difficult to deal with. And the Seer Council did extraordinarily well, throwing around the debuffs on the squads and buffing up different units. Really pushes the formation, the detachment, even that much further over the edge. All in all, Eldar continue to make a strong showing, continuing to impress in every game that I've been playing with them since the new Codex has dropped. Brutal army. And Necrons, I felt, was probably the toughest challenge they've managed to face yet. So we'll see in the coming weeks and months how the meta shifts and adjusts to the new Eldar Codex. But right now they're looking really tough to beat. Well, I hope you enjoyed the bat rep. Just keep tuning in. I'll keep posting more in the coming weeks. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.